So I'm going to start. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. So we are going to be going over some judge and mentor informational content and information so that you have the resources and guidance you need for the hackathon, which is going to be happening next Thursday and Friday. So really excited, and it's right around the corner. So on today's presentation, we'll just go over the hackathon at a high level, do some quick introductions. I know this is a webinar, so right now you aren't able to speak, but we will just kind of, I'll just briefly kind of highlight who our judges and mentors are. We will go over kind of the overall roles and responsibilities of both the judges and the mentors. Then we'll go over each of the 2 challenges that are kind of making up the hackathon. And then from there, we'll do a quick demo of the actual software that the judges will be using to evaluate and score the submissions. So with that, I just wanted to quickly introduce kind of the key players who are helping facilitate this hackathon. Of course, the College of Southern Maryland and the Velocity Center are the primary sponsors and the driving organization behind the VelocityX Hackathon. And then we are partnered with them. Ensemble, we are a open innovation design, marketing and operations company that works with the federal government, local government, and universities to design and implement these types of open innovation initiatives like hackathons or prize competitions. And then we have also brought in Bright Idea as our hackathon online facilitation platform. So all of the software that we use both for the marketing promotion of the hackathon, as well as the actual kind of pipeline management of ideas, idea flow, idea scoring, evaluation, and then the judge scoring is all facilitated via the Bright Idea platform. So I'll walk you through all of that. But with that, I just wanted to introduce the primary judges for this. So again, thank you to all, to Campbell, Rachel, Sybil, and Rosa. Very much appreciate your time and efforts and expertise that you'll be able to bring to this important innovation event. So again, thanks very much. And we have already created user accounts for you. So we'll be following up with more details on that. But as you can see, we have a representative group from both CSM, from SMECO, as well as the Sierra Club, with Maryland's chapter with the Sierra Club. And then I also want to give a huge thank you to all of the mentors. So the mentors will be supporting the teams. So Beth, Destiny, Aaron, Lisa, and Monty, again, very much appreciate your time and expertise so that you can help support these teams as they go and craft different types of solutions. So I just wanted to kind of go over the primary roles and responsibilities for both judges and the mentors. So for judges, your role is to really evaluate, score, and listen to the team presentations. There will, we think, be opportunity to provide feedback and constructive criticism, but ultimately your role is to make the decision on the prize award. So recognizing those teams and identifying and scoring to decide to kind of define how we would allocate prize awards. So that's really the key role for our hackathon judges. And just to call out that judges typically are not going to be collaborating directly with hackathon teams, primarily so that there's no kind of perceived conflict of interest and that there are no biases at play when judges listen to the final presentations of all of the teams. While mentors will be providing ongoing guidance during the 2-day event. This includes helping teams brainstorm, do problem solving, sharing expertise and knowledge, offering feedback, but not scoring or judging the teams. So I hope that's pretty clear, pretty straightforward. But a key takeaway is that the judges will be evaluating, scoring, and listening to the final presentation. But that also means that you won't be required or asked to attend, the entire duration of the event, while mentors will be dedicated to both days to support the teams. So with that, I'll just kind of dive into the actual challenge and kind of the overall structure of the hackathon. So in general, there are 2 challenges, and each challenge has a $6,000 prize purse attached to it. The overall kind of flow of money is first place, second place, third place, with first place receiving $3,000, and then that prize purse kind of getting distributed that way. So there will be 6 winners that are selected at this hackathon next week. So it's a fair amount of money, especially for just 2 days worth of hard work. So it's obviously very important that we do a good job evaluating and selecting those teams that have showed the most promise and have really earned it on merit based on their solutions. So the 2 primary challenges that participants will be entering, they can either enter one or the other. They cannot compete in both challenges. And they're kind of trying to tackle the risks of a rising sea level from 2 different dimensions. One is trying to visualize the risk using data analytics, visualization tools, open source data sets, those types of things. And we wanted to make the challenge and the solutions relevant to both the participants and to the region, the Southern Maryland region. And so after some subject matter expert and interviews, we really honed in on the idea of the risks of sea level rise in the future, and kind of constructed 2 challenges around that overall problem area. So we have a data visualization challenge, like I mentioned, and then we have a marketing strategy challenge where the teams will basically develop a marketing campaign to communicate to potentially vulnerable populations the types of risks and actions that they might be able to take, as well as connecting them with local government resources to support potential risks that their property may face or their community may face. So it's both communicating risks to populations and then trying to connect them in a creative way to resources, to government resources or to other informational resources that can help them prepare and ultimately enhance our resiliency to the ongoing risks of sea level rise due to climate change. So those are the 2 challenges that we'll be focused on. So we hope that this kind of blends both some operational kind of importance in the future while still making it accessible to participants and making it relevant to them and to the region around the Velocity Center. So just to kind of give you a sense of what they'll actually be doing by they, I mean the participants and the teams during the hackathon. So we try to create some structure around the hackathon so that the teams hit specific milestones with the development of their solutions, especially because, they don't have that much time. So we want to give some level of structure so that they achieve certain milestones when building their solution, and are prepared for a final presentation kind of demo of their solution. So the first kind of phase is we define it as discover. We will be listening to 2 5 to 10 minute oral presentations from a judge and a mentor who are experts in the kind of government level climate change and flooding risks. So we're gonna have the participants will have a chance to listen to these experts, ask them questions. And then at that point, they will have to select a challenge to move forward with. So after the teams select a challenge and listen to the kind of kickoff presentations in the morning of the hackathon, Then they will move into ideation, which is, sketching out ideas, really kind of brainstorming, trying to figure out what you could actually feasibly prototype in the next 12 to 24 hours. And ultimately, after some brainstorming and ideation, we ask that the teams select their kind of strongest idea or concept, ideally describe that concept in paragraph or PowerPoint format, so that then they can move on to the next phase, which is the design and build. And so this should take up a majority of the time, where they're actually building the prototype. They're getting some data sources, building it with a Python, integrating a data visualization tool, and really just getting into the nuts and bolts of building an actual technical solution. So at the end of the day, their output here is an MVP, a dashboard, a prototype solution, something where a user could actually touch some type of software, and hopefully get some solution. Or in the case of the marketing strategy, they're building the actual marketing campaign, like messages, social media, images. And again, all of this, of course, is just at a kind of, let's say, a prototype level. They don't have that much time to be building this. But we do want to accelerate the development process and really kind of push the teams to think about sketching, prototyping, and getting their ideas out of their heads and into the real world. That's ultimately what these hackathons do a really good job of, is helping participants figure out how to build real solutions with a team to tackle a real problem that the community faces. So that's what really the focus of this phase is. So, like I said, this is a 2-day event. Throughout much of the time, they'll be doing design and build, but then at the end, they will need to do some refinement and preparation for a presentation. So we ask that they prepare a final, 10 slide deck presentation and a demonstration of their online or of their tool, if applicable. And then they will upload that into Bright Idea, and then via Bright Idea, we will create kind of the final presentation deck that will have all of these pitches or kind of technical demonstrations, and then we'll spend the last 1 to 2 hours for the teams to actually present. And so they'll go through their idea, their solution, how they arrived at the solution, how they might be able to build on the solution in the future. And that's where, the judges will be listening, perhaps asking questions, providing constructive feedback. And then at the end of all those presentations, that's when the scoring will occur, and the decision for how prizes will be allocated. So I hope that's a pretty straightforward and clear process that we'll be following. I'll quickly dive into the actual criteria that we'll use to evaluate the challenges, and then we'll go into a demo of the software that you'll be using. So first, the data visualization challenge. So if you're unfamiliar, all of these challenges or hackathons have criteria. It's essentially like a grading rubric, and that's what you'll be completing. So there are 4 criteria: data representation, interactivity, clarity and ease of understanding, and the effectiveness in communicating a clear insight. Each one of these has a possible total score of 25. So each solution will be judged on a 100-point scale. So data representation, are they representing the data with appropriate chart types, labeling, scaling? Then is there some level of interactivity where a user can engage and kind of dive deeper into the data? Is the visualization and information being showed clearly so that a user can understand how to take action, perhaps, or how to interpret the information? And then again, just kind of the effectiveness in delivering some type of insight via the data. So these are the primary questions that you will be evaluating during the solution and the presentations. Then similarly, for the marketing strategy challenge, we have the overall criteria. Put one in there. So you'll be evaluating a potential marketing campaign, marketing strategy. So we're evaluating creativity, originality, some level of feasibility and budget, the potential community impact, the use of effective communication and engagement strategies, and then the overall presentation of the campaign, asking if it was clear and comprehensive. So actually we are going to have to adjust this a little bit, I think, because that's now more than 100 points. So I think we're going to be doing a little bit of tailoring, so that again, they're being evaluated on a 100-point scale. But this is basically what the scorecard will look like. Great. And then also we do have a Q&A. So if you have questions throughout this, feel free to jump in and ask via the Q&A box. And I can also, if you have a direct question, I can just allow you to talk. Because we are using this kind of webinar format, it makes it a little bit more tricky to open up the mic to folks. But with that, I'm going to go into the judge scorecard review platform. And the first thing that's important to call out is that we have already generated the judge accounts. So if you're a judge, you already have an account kind of saved in draft mode, and we will be sending you a formal invite today, maybe tomorrow morning at the very latest. But you'll receive an email, and it'll be coming from Bright Idea VelocityX email box, and it'll basically invite you to create an account. And kind of go through one or two very simple steps so that your account is ready to go. And once you've done that, you'll receive both an email and you'll be able to log into the VelocityX platform. And so I did just want to kind of call out what that looks like. So hopefully you can see my screen right now. But the most important thing for this platform is your action items. So you will be assigned a scorecard action item. You'll also get an email. So every time that a solution gets moved into essentially your judging column, you will receive an email that will say you have one new action item. So what you can do is very easily just click on that link, and then that will open your scorecard. So as you can see, we have a test idea, and this is what the scorecard looks like. So this is where their actual solution will be. This will be a little bit longer. They'll have different fields that describe the idea, including like the overall concept. There also can be PDFs. You'll be looking at their presentations during this process. And then you'll have a list of all of your assigned submissions. So I've already scored one of them, but all of these the titles of each one of these would be each one of the presentations that you're listening to. So right now I have this test for judging submission. I'm taking a look at it. I'm listening during the presentation, and then this is where you do the scoring. So all of these are on a Likert scale. So the data is represented comprehensively through the visualization. Agree, neutral, strongly agree, so on and so forth. So I'll say agree, user interactivity, I'll say neutral, easy to understand, strongly agree, effectively communicates, I'll say agree. And then it is also very helpful to drop in comments. Say this was a good presentation, but needed more interactivity. And then you can go ahead and submit that scorecard, and then we will do some scoring on our side. So you can see that this received a 73 based on the Likert scale scaling of the scorecard. And then what happens is we will look at each one of these ideas, and then you'll see a ranked order of all of the submissions based on the results that you submit. So, you know, and what it does happen, and this happened last year, is that some of them were very close. So judges went into a confidential, secure room and talked it over. the scores are important for getting the overall kind of shape of who is at the top and who is perhaps at the bottom, but the hardcore numbers, are a good starting spot, but there should be some level of deliberation. Let's say like there's a 73 and a 72, and we have to pick one or the other for a prize. That's a circumstance where, doing a deliberation is an important exercise, and we have reserved some time so that judges can do that. But this is overall the scorecard process. You will receive an account, you'll receive an email with action items. In that email, you'll be able to open your scorecard, complete the scoring, click submit, and then we will take all of the calculations from there and then present all of that to the judges so that you can make final deliberations on who will be awarded the prize money. So that is pretty much the core of the platform. And again, just to kind of show your scorecards here on the right. Yeah, so really just wanted to go over the next steps. So for judges, you should be able to arrive at around 1-ish with pitches starting at 1:30 and lasting until approximately 3, after which the judge team will review scores and determine the challenge ranking. I believe this is up to date with the latest information. So this is the overall kind of expectations and preparing for the judges. The only other next step would be when you receive the invite to the VelocityX platform, just to open up your user account and see that it is functional. You won't have any assigned action items yet, but just to open that platform, and if you can take a few minutes just to familiarize yourself with it. But of course, like, we will be there during this event, and so we'll be able to provide technical support to the Bright Idea platform to help you if you have questions, that kind of thing. And then if you're a mentor, we do ask that you arrive the day of the VelocityX Hackathon starting. So that's at 9 o'clock on Thursday the 30th. To launch this event, like I kind of mentioned, there will be a mentor and a judge. So thank you, Beth and Rosa, who will be providing a short presentation. And then from there, the teams will break away and start hacking, start creating, ideating, designing, all of these things. And so typically what we've done is paired a mentor with a team, and then some mentors have been more fluid and walked around the Velocity Center and interacting with different teams, asking them to kind of show their latest progress. And then the mentors have been able to provide some feedback and input. So those are the types of activities that you can that we'd ask you to do during this hackathon to help them prepare for their final presentation and help them build the solution. So with that, that's pretty much all of the content that I had for the group today. I can open it up for questions. You can drop your questions into the Q&A. If you'd like, I can also allow you to talk if you just want to ask a question verbally. But again, we just want to say thank you so much for dedicating your expertise and your time. And we hope that this is going to be a really awesome event, really engaging for the participants. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we have. I don't know, Leslie, if you want to jump in with any kind of other remarks, but feel free.
Yes, thank you. Again, thank you everyone for your participation and taking your time out of, I know what are very busy work schedules for each of you to spend, hours, if not a couple of days at the Velocity Center with this initiative. I do want to just mention with regard to the judging, because it is online, we can have laptops available for you to take care of that portion of participation. So or you can certainly bring your own. We have Wi-Fi access if you feel more comfortable using your own device, but we can make a laptop available for you. And I don't think I have anything else other than thanking you. For those who will be there for the bulk of both days, we will have food, breakfast, lunch, snacks, both days throughout the day. So just be aware of that. And if you have any questions, certainly feel free to reach out to me directly. So thank you once again.
Sybil, go ahead. I'm
Hi,
giving you talk. Yeah.
thank you. Oliver and Leslie, I'll be quick. I just want to say, so I was a judge for this event last year, and it was a blast. Thank you for this platform, which is really user-friendly. The whole process was just so seamless and so much fun. And so for those who may be new judges, I just want to tell you, it's going to be awesome. You'll really enjoy this. So thank you again, Oliver and Leslie, for setting this up for us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's super fun. So what time does it end on Thursday? So that's a good question. I'm gonna pull up our run of show. I believe, Leslie, we want everything to be done by 4 o'clock at the latest. And then so presentations would begin around 1:30, and then there would be 10-minute about a 10-minute presentations. So we would, take 1:30 to 3 to get through all of the presentations, and then 3 to 3:30 to do kind of final deliberations, and then an award announcements in between 3:45 and 4. Is that correct, Leslie?
Yes, but I think the question was about Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday.
Yes. So I would say no later than, but if you could pull up, I think we had on our run-up show for last year that we
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
ended at 4 as well.
Yeah, but like we said, like
at that point, I think on the first day, teams are free to continue, like they can work up until, I think we did end at 4. But if as a mentor, like if you needed to leave, if that, for some reason before the teams left, that would be fine as well.
Yeah, so certainly on Thursday, there's more flexibility. For example, Beth, if you can only stay till 2, and then as a mentor, you need to leave, that should be totally fine. It's kind of more on that day, it's all about just getting the team spun up and working, and giving them, the support as needed. But we kind of have the official end date or end time at 3:30. But some teams kept working after that, and some teams, they kind of went home for lunch and then they didn't come back till the next day. So it kind of just depends on the teams.
Yeah.
Monty.
Center officially we close at 5. So like on Thursday, as Ali mentioned, if some teams wanted to stay, like the building would be open. And also for the mentors on Friday, once we break for lunch and begin presentations, I mean, you could leave if you weren't able to stay for the judging and the presentations, although I would imagine if you could, that you'd want to be able to stay for that part since you invested the time on Thursday and earlier on Friday. But just know that if you had to leave, that you'd be free to do so as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, Monty. So the presentations would start at 1:30, and then the whole rest of the time would be dedicated to those presentations and then the judge deliberation. you know, it kind of depends on how long presentations are going, usually 10 minutes, and then there's some kind of, you know, logistical setup, so that adds a little bit of time. You know, we might be able to, if there's, you know, maybe an hour and 15 minutes worth of presentations, then at like 2:45 we would go into judging. So this is like the overall time block, but it might get shortened a little bit depending on what the teams are presenting. But the goal is to have everything finished and judges announce, or the awards announced by 4 o'clock on Friday. Well, excellent. Anything else? There's submitting presentations to a GitHub at a certain time, or they're just presenting in a certain order. Yeah, so there's not going to be a GitHub kind of repo submission. Basically, we would want everything when they do a demo, it would be running locally on their it'd be just running locally on whatever the device or computer there is that you're using. We could certainly set up a GitHub repo for them to push data or push code into. But the kind of overall code management will be the responsibility of the teams. So, you know, maybe there would be an opportunity if there's some really strong code that's developed, but ultimately, you know, we would want those participants retaining ownership of that code base. So ultimately, the only things that we're going to be collecting from them are a final PowerPoint presentation. Good question. Any other questions before we wrap up? Well, excellent. Again, thanks very much, and we're really excited to see everyone next week. So with that, I'll go ahead and stop the recording. And I hope everyone has a great Thursday.
Thank you.